everybody, I'm Ashwini. I'm going to say a few words regarding child labor in my area, Manikonda, which is on the outskirts of Hyderabad. What's a child labor? Any work for children below 18 years of age which harms or exploits them physically, mentally, or by blocking the education path. The main objective of this problem is because of poverty. The farmers and workers, they don't have sufficient amount of time and money, so they send their children to work at an young age. This may lead to illiteracy. Who knows, maybe in future there could be an Abdul Kalam or a scientist among these people. As you can see in the graph, that the major portion is occupied by the family workers. It's because it's due to the awareness. And yeah, thank you, thanks.
Respected sir and my dear friends, good morning to one and all. I am Deepak Suresh. My roll number is NA10B008. I am from Alapi district in Kerala. My hometown is Mavelikara. It has been marked the red box in the map. I am going to talk to you about alcoholism in Kerala. Kerala has the highest per capita consumption of over 8 liters per person a year and has highest number of drinkers. A state-run monopoly called KSBC runs alcohol sale in Kerala. According to a study conducted by IIM, KSBC is the only public sector undertaking in Kerala that consistently generates profits. Alcohol consumption causes a lot of social evils. It kills a lot of people, exacting a heavy social cost. Rising number of divorces are directly related to increasing alcohol abuse. Hospitals and rehabilitation centers are packed with patients suffering from alcohol related diseases. 95% of the vehicular accidents involve people who are driving after having consumed alcohol. It's during the Onam season that alcohol consumption rises to greater heights every year. As you can see from the given graph, alcohol continues to dominate the lives of people. Thank you.
Respected sir and my dear friends, very good morning. Initially, I was very doubtful about my topic, so I decided to sleep on it. But when I woke up, I was totally convinced what I will do, and but moreover, I was guilt. Moreover, I was guilt. I had a guilty feeling over that I didn't switch off the light when I slept. So I'm going to talk about the wastage of electricity in my hostel. So I went out to see what all ways you can waste electricity, and one is no, the lights and fans, laptops are never switched off, and also the people leave the water taps running. Usually it's more done by the other group of primates in my hostel. So I did an investigation of the rooms in which the lights are not unnecessarily switched on. So you can see from the graph, we have in the x-axis it's time, and time when I checked, and the y-axis it's number of rooms. So average 12 rooms are contains unnecessary lights, and it wastes 12 kilowatt hour of energy each day. Thank you, sir.
Respected sir and all my friends, a very good morning to all of you. My name is Siddhesh Godbole and my roll number is CE10B079. Well, I am from a place which is known as the financial capital of the India, and also it is called the city of gold. Yes, this is Mumbai city. Situated on the west coast of the India in Maharashtra, the Mumbai is one of the biggest metropolitan city in the world. What its main contribution to the India's economy and development has led it to become the most vulnerable city for terrorist attacks, and that is the topic I'm going to talk about. For past 2 decades, Mumbai has suffered a tremendous terrorist attacks in which Mumbai has lost almost 1,000 lives, and many of them and many more are left injured whose wounds can never be healed. It's very easy to sit here and give sympathy to those who have died, but it's very difficult for those who have seriously witnessed in front of their eyes, and I'm one of them. You can see from the slides there are more than 1,000 people who were killed in the attacks. The people in the Bombay are not safe. I'm sorry, people in the Mumbai are not safe. They are always haunted with the fear, unknown fear that is I'm going to be the next. Thank you. Thanks a lot for listening.
Respected sir and my dear friends, a good morning to one and all. Today I am here to speak about the garbage disposal crisis in my locality. I come from Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. Due to overdumping of waste, one of the major garbage treatment plants in my locality was closed down. And this has caused serious problems for the local people as well as for the entire city. Thousands of tons of garbage still remain untreated in this plant. The unbearable stench from this plant has spread across over 3 kilometers, and the leachate has caused the contamination of groundwater as well as the nearby river, causing lack of drinking water for the localites. Even there has been spread of waterborne diseases in the locality. Now, added to this, the government stopped collecting garbage from households. Now, burning of plastic waste and accumulation of waste in roadsides and public places have become common. And this is causing serious health troubles. Many corporation workers lost their jobs, and these heaps of waste that remain uncollected are causing protests all over the city. So,
Good morning, everyone. As today everyone here is discussing about the various problems in their cities, I, Raghavendra, am here to discuss the major problem in my city, Visakhapatnam. This is about the flyover whose construction was supposed to start in the year 2007. As the hoarding suggests in a mocking tone, even today, the 1st of February 2012, it is still under construction. As the flyover is being constructed in the Vizag's busiest market areas marked in the map, the traffic flow is majorly disturbed since nothing has been done to control it. The area has the city's biggest bus stop, a number of schools and colleges, and is the main road leading to the railway station. Because of the flyover, it has obstructed the free movement of the public to all of these important destinations. We can see in this table how bad the current traffic volumes are at these junctions, and because of this, many complaints and protests have been taken place from time to time.
Respected sir and my dear friends, a very good morning to one and all. My name is Vimal. My roll number is CH10B073. Today I'm going to talk about water shortage in my hometown, which is a major civic problem affecting not only my native place but also various cities all around the world. I hail from Tuticorin, which is also known as the Pearl City. It is a major seaport and it is one of the key sea gateways to Tamil Nadu. As you can see from the facts and figures shown in my slide, around 80,000 people are currently facing potable water shortage since 2 decades, which is affecting more than 12 coastal villages. And the most affected villages, as shown in my slide, they get water only once in 12 days or even more. And the reason behind these problems, the major reason that is, it is the fact that water pipelines which are connecting the Tamarapanni river to these villages are old and are poorly maintained, resulting in a huge amount of water leakage. As seen in the pie chart, around 74% of the people are suffering from unfit drinking water conditions, and only a little over around 20% are exposed to healthy drinking water. And the mayor has recently promised these issues will be resolved soon, and I hope they are. Thanks a lot.
Good morning, everyone. I am Chinmay Bapat, CS10B059. I am from Mumbai, and the problem I am going to talk about is the lack of open spaces in Mumbai. Open spaces in cities are important. They provide aesthetic and psychological relief from urban development. This is a picture of Mumbai from above. You can see that there are hardly any spaces not constructed on. These are some statistics. Only 2.5% of the land in Mumbai is open space. As you can see, this works out to just 1.95 square meters of open space per person, which is way less than the UN Food and Agriculture Organization standard. The open spaces are continually decreasing due to construction and encroachment of these open spaces. It is important to preserve the remaining open spaces. Thank you.
Hello, good morning sir, good morning my friends. I am Kalpesh, my roll number is CH10B008. Today I am going to talking about the traffic problem in Pune. There are many reasons for traffic in Pune. Some of them are overcrowding. The main reason for overcrowding is the population and the migration of migration of people from different cities. And another problem is status. The people most of the people think that if they travel to the public transport system, they will it doesn't suitable for their high status. The next reason is inefficient public transport, reckless driving and narrow roads. This chart is showing the traffic, pollution, accidents and health issues are interrelated to each other, and this bar diagram is showing that the factor responsible for accidents. Before going, I want to just give you a message that drive safely on the road. That's it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Surya Teja from Visakhapatnam. Today, I would like to speak on the major civic problem in my place, which is industrial pollution. According to the Pollution Control Board, Visakhapatnam is the most industrially polluted cluster in the state. As you can see, there are many industries like the port, steel plant, HPCL, zinc, and many other major factories located right in the center of the city. The major reason for pollution in the city is the open coal storage in the port as seen in the picture. These coal particles are moved by the wind to the residential areas where the people are actually suffering a lot of air pollution, like the regions of Jagadamba Junction, Sheela Nagar, Madhyapalam and so on. The people in these regions are inhaling tiny dust particles and are developing severe diseases like bronchitis, tuberculosis and so on. Also, the major air pollutants like the nitrogen dioxide etc. will lead to acid rains in the near future, which will be a major threat. Thank you and have a nice day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aparna. I'm from the place Hyderabad, and I'm going to talk about a civic problem in my place, traffic. As the map shows, I'm from the place Mehdipatnam. Today, Hyderabad stands second in India in terms of traffic pollution. During the peak hours, the roads look something like this, and the noise levels reach up to 100 decibels. In terms of particulate matter concentration, Hyderabad leads some of the major cities in the world, as this picture shows. These chemicals cause harmful effects like headache, nausea, giddiness, and the most importantly, irritation among the travelers, which lead them to resort to some of the mischievous activities like this on the roads, which often lead to major accidents. As this picture shows, this is a man trying to jump across a divider on the Khairtabad junction. These lead to major accidents which account to more than 20% of
Good morning, sir. Good morning, friends. My name is Rajashekar. My roll number is CES10B012, and I am here to discuss the problem of growing e-waste in the city we live, Chennai. First of all, what is e-waste? E-waste include waste generated from electronic devices and household appliances which are not fit for their original intended use. So, e-waste include large number of electronic and electrical appliances like computers, TVs, etc., and household appliances like refrigerators, air conditioners, etc. So, e-waste are very harmful. They contain more than 1000 different chemical substances which are toxic. So, what is the reason for this growing e-waste around the globe? So, rapid changes in technology, falling prices, etc., and planned obsolescence, this resulted in growing e-waste around the globe. So, Chennai annually generates about 30,000 tons of e-waste. By 2030, it is supposed to grow up to 2 lakh tons. So, our institute generates around 5 to 7 tons of e-waste annually. So, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. In the year 2010, India accounted for 18% of the total lives lost in road accidents across the world. Poor quality roads and a complete lack of road sense are the chief culprits in this respect. India has one of the most extensive networks of roads throughout the world. Roads in India, are these structures worthy of being called roads, or are they just tarred paths which have been built just for the sake of it? Moreover, the mindset of the people is such that roads are treated not as a means of transport, but more like common places. Encroachments such as temples, dhabas, shops, etc. are a thing of a common sight. If roads are bad, then the road sense is even worse. Work like you need no money, dance like no one is watching, and drive as if no one is waiting back home. That seems to be the principle on Indian roads. Roads are the lifelines of a nation. It is up to us, the people of India, to ensure that we spread about the awareness of road sense amongst the people and ensure that new policies are implemented to improve the existing structures. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. I am Satya Karthik. My roll number is ME09B115. I am here today to discuss about power consumption in IIT. As we can see here, like hostel zone consumes 16% of the total power, whereas departments and centers consume 40% of the total power. IIT Madras spends 15 crores per annum on power, whereas the per capita consumption of India is 631 kilowatt hour, whereas our hostels is 900 kilowatt hour. The main cause of this is students leave their room without switching off their lights, fans, and they do not switch off their laptops. They do not switch off the lights in the quadrangles and the grounds. They do not switch off the washing machines. 1 unit of power generation results in the emission of 1.04 mega kgs of CO2, and there are many cases. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. My name is Nitin Sailesh. Today I am going to speak about the pollution in my city, Chandrapur. Chandrapur is a city in Maharashtra with large reserves of coal and iron ore. It also has 21 coal mines. It is also the home of many industries and one of the India's biggest thermal power plant. Due to a rapid growth in industrialization, pollution levels in this city has increased to a great extent. And also, for the establishment of the industries and coal mines, large areas under agriculture and vegetation have been consumed. As you can see, from the last 20 years, there is a drastic decrease in the area under vegetation and agriculture. Also, the effluents coming from the coal mines are polluting the water bodies. The smoke from thermal power plant and industries are causing air pollution. Also, it is giving rise to more average temperature in this area. This is how a typical morning in my city looks like. That is the area near the cement factory filled with dust, and this is the area near the thermal power plant with lot of smoke. It is also now the 4th most polluted city in India. Thank you very much.
Good morning, one and all. I am Aditya, roll number ME09B061. Today, I would like to discuss and present my views on child labor. Child labor, as you all know, refers to employment of children at regular or sustained labor. Child labor is a major problem for the developing countries like India. Children work at the cost of their right to education, which leaves them permanently trapped in the poverty cycle, without education and literacy needed for better paying jobs. Now coming to my state, Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh tops the list of highest percentage share of child labor all over India. In the year 1991, these are the statistics, and in the 2001, these are the statistics. As we see, Andhra Pradesh came down from 14.7% to 10.8%, but I wouldn't call that a good development, because for a developing country like India, it is very important to avoid child labor. And also, I would also like to mention about Uttar Pradesh, which is showing a continuous increase in the percentage of child labor. And most of the children who work come from rural families. For them, attending school is foregoing a source of income for the family. I would like to end with the famous quote, child is father of the man. Thank you.
I wish you all a good morning. My name is Saurabh Nath. Let us discuss about the civic problems at IIT Madras. On the right side, you can see the power allocation at our institute. The total number comes up to 27 lakh kilowatts, which is 4% of the Chennai's total power supply. Now, this percentage starts looking huge when we see from the population point of view. The Chennaites are 4.6 million, whereas we are at the maximum 10,000 here at IIT Madras. Now, why won't there be so huge power losses when there are 24 hours non-stop running laptops, water dispensers, washing machines, etc.? And how many of us really check the running taps and faulty leakages? Now, it is a fact that Indian government spends about 18 to 26 million dollars every year on each IIT. Now, how will the Indian economic concerns be served from these institute of national importance when every one of us want to work abroad? Another aspect that we can draw from the above fact is corruption. IIT Madras was formed by Indo-German collaboration in 1960. Since then, the workshop have maintained to preserve the machines without any modifications, and the CCW gets away with it by giving contracts to the incompetent caterers. There is no first aid kit at hostels and medical facilities, which have led to fatal consequences. These are just a few facts. And the guidance and counseling unit, I don't think so it is up to the task, because there were 2 suicides in 3 months recently. Now, sexual discrimination. A recent different friend of mine had wrote a blog how his day starts with and ends in fear. Now, this shows the indifference. This shows the indifference of the Institute of Highest Educational Standards on such matters. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nishant, and my roll number is EE10B068. I am here to speak about the rapidly growing problem of electronic waste or e-waste in Bangalore. Bangalore is known as the Silicon Valley of India. It is home to nearly 1,300 software companies and 36 hardware units, and it generates about 50,000 metric tons of e-waste every year. E-waste is extremely toxic. This image shows e-waste being segregated at E-Parisara in Bangalore. Compare the data of the year 2007 and 2020. At this rate, if this continues, then this is where we'll be ending up if we do not take prompt action as soon as possible. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Stephen Kishore, roll number NA08B037. Today I am here to discuss about the water scarcity problems in our place town called Puttur. Puttur is a town located in Chittoor district in Andhra Pradesh, and it is famous for bone setting hospitals. Though it is a municipality and a main town, it has a few water scarcity problems in our area, and I am most aware of it because we had those problems in our home also. And especially the place where I live, boring of water is very problematic one, because as in the boring will get a longer depths, and water which we get finally is a salt water. That is why many people end up getting the water tanks and home, and sometimes the water tanks too. A small lake near to my place is which will be dried for the entire year except in the rainy season or heavy monsoon seasons. This water scarcity in this mandal is mainly due to the lack of reservoirs and rivers. Drinking water and irrigation water for agriculture depends on bore wells, although there are very few wells in our places.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Good morning, friends. I am Alfred Ajay. My roll number is EE10B052. I have come here to talk about the solid waste management in my hometown, which is Salem district, in the central part of Tamil Nadu. It is an average Indian city with 60 wards and spread about approximately 90 square kilometers, but generates 120 to 150 gigatons of garbage every year. The main problem is people dump the garbage without classifying it, and corporation workers fail to remove the garbage periodically. And some miscreants burn the garbage, resulting in toxic gases causing respiratory problems. The corporation is trying to solve these problems by creating a solid waste management plant, and an underground drainage project has been proposed. It also creates awareness programs, but finally, the responsibility lies with the people. And I would like to acknowledge the Hindu, Wikipedia, Salem Corporation, and Salem Jilla for their contribution. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Pranav. My roll number is EE10B008. Today I am going to talk about an effect of improper garbage management in my college, that is IIT Madras. We know that IIT Madras is located in Chennai. It is an integral part of Gindi National Park and serves as home to several species of wild animals such as deer and black bucks. This picture was taken by me a few days ago. It shows the backyard of Student Facilitation Center, commonly known as Gurnath here by people. Most of the garbage here is contains plastics and other non-biodegradable materials which are very harmful on consumption. Very large quantities of such material is found in the stomach of deer during their post-mortem, which is a very sad thing. As responsible people, we should protect our wildlife and we should find a solution to this problem at the earliest. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. My name is Tarun. My roll number is CH10B082. I am here to speak about the marine pollution from the place where I came from, that is Visakhapatnam. Here we can see the India map where the magnified image shows the place where I came from, that is Visakhapatnam. Visakhapatnam is a port city which has lot of imports and exports, but on the other hand we also have the loopholes like marine pollution, where the sewage is about 55 mld and totally of 68 mld, that contains about 80% of the total sewage is dumped into the major water bodies like oceans and seas. Visakhapatnam is majorly consists of lot of industries like steel plant, etc. So the major effects of the marine pollution is as follows. Thank you.
Hi friends, good morning everyone. I am Seshu. My number is C10B019. I live in a city called Vijayawada, and you can see the location here. It's basically located near the Krishna river. I want to speak some civic problems of Vijayawada, just like overpopulation in the city. Most of the city's population is students. Many of the students who are in the +2 and +1 levels come to Vijayawada for studies, and this increases this increases the population in the city. So most of the population increase is due to the migration increase. So this leads to the over traffic issue and also the lack of place for living. This is the over traffic due to the overpopulation near the Ben Circle and NTR Circle road. This is the very important road in the city as it is the National Highway 5. Many accidents occur in the city due to this over traffic and overpopulation issues. As a result, many of the other issues like water scarcity also occur in Vijayawada at some rural areas. So please be safety. Please drive safe. Thank you.
Good morning to one and all. I'm Dinesh Soundappa and my roll number is CE10B017. I'm from Tirupur district, and here in the map of Tirupur you can see the river Noyal. It's indicated by the blue lines. I came to know that this was a river and not a sewage line only when I was in my 7th standard. Yes, water pollution is the biggest problem in Tirupur. Tirupur is also called the Manchester of India. It's because it's one of the world's largest garment manufacturer. Now I'm sure you can understand there's huge amount of clothes which is to be colored every day, and coloring of clothes require water and plenty of water. Once this water is used for dyeing clothes, it cannot be used for domestic purposes, and this is the major reason for pollution in Tirupur. And there are many initiatives taken by the government to solve the issue. And in 2011, this project was launched, and you can see the magnificence of the project by the numbers shown here. I guess there will soon be a solution to this issue, and I guess there will be harmony between men and water in Tirupur. Thank you.
Hi friends, good morning all of you. I am Irfan Habib. My roll number is AE10B041. Today I am here to talk something about e-pollution in Chennai. As in map, it's located in east coast of India, and e-pollution is one of the main problem which Chennai facing. And since it's a prime city in India, it's too important. Mainly e-waste are electric or electronic components which are unwanted, and it mainly contains large amount of lead and other heavy metals, and those are toxic and non-biodegradable. So it can leads to it can affect badly to environment, like pollution. It pollutes groundwater, it increases acidity of soil, it causes air pollution, and it also damages our nervous and respiratory system, and it causes genetical disorder. As in the graph, the growth of e-waste in Chennai is exponential. By this year, e-waste will almost increase by 1000 tons as statistic shows. Thank you.
Hi friends, a very good morning to all. I am Jadhav Dattatreya and my roll number is AE10B042. Today I am here to speak a few words on the topic illiteracy in my district. My district is Adilabad. It's located in the northern parts of Andhra Pradesh, as you can see from the map. Illiteracy in my district is a result of many factors. My district is full of tribal people, and because of this, many parents do not know what education is and what education can do to their children. The schools are very few in count, and also they are very pathetically facilitated. The teachers' qualification who are employed there are very poor, and the implementation of educational programs like Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan are also very pathetic. Lack of enthusiasm among the educated people like us to educate and to literate the people there is also very hardly seen, and this is leading many people and students there to be illiterate. Here are some statistics of the students going to different levels of schools in a village named Utnur in my district. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am Aman Kumar. I come from a place Patna in Bihar, and today I am going to talk about the topic poverty. Poverty is a condition when people are not able to meet the basic requirements of life. Now, if you look at the graph, then Bihar is much more behind, is lagging behind in terms of literacy and per capita increase than the average of India. The reason why Bihar is entangled in the web of poverty is that after the partition in year 2000, almost all of its resources got lost to Jharkhand, and we were left with only a huge manpower, being the third largest state in the highly populated state in the country. The one who are mostly affected by this are these children who are even deprived of love, care and nutrition. Hence, finally, I would like to conclude this by quoting Mother Teresa, that we think sometimes that poverty is only being hungry, naked and homeless, but the poverty of being unwanted, unloved is the greatest poverty. Thank you and have a nice day.
Good morning, one and all. My place is Anantapur, and I chose the civic problem factionism in Anantapur. Probably many of you might not know what factionism exactly is. It's the scope of continued violence or rivalry among two groups or families, or maybe between father and son. It's a phenomenon of continued violence, exactly. So in this map, I'll be showing the highlighted area as Anantapur, and that is my place. It is located in the southwest part of Andhra Pradesh. Normally the faction violence can be spread among the village or more through the geographical area. Due to this, innocent and natural people will be forced to join among any of the other groups even though they do not want to, and this may cause their loss to property and lives. Generally, the factionists kill their opponents and their followers, and they even resort to criminal activities, indulge in illegal activities, and they get addicted to crime and money, and they settle various land settlements, and the transactions will be in crores of rupees. And the two families or groups will be will have an everlasting enmity, and that exists between their fathers, and it continues to the next generation and so on. And this is a picture taken from the movie Rakta Charitra, directed by Ram Gopal Verma, keeping in view of the factionism in Anantapur. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rajiv. Today I am going to give presentation on threats to animal lives in IIT Madras. Our IIT Madras is a home for many animals like monkeys, deers, black bugs and over 100 species of birds. But many times due to our carelessness and selfish reasons, we cause threat to their lives. One of the most common problem is disposing of plastic waste. The plastic waste cannot be digested by any of the animals, which will cause them a serious threat to their lives. This table shows the population of black bugs and deers over years. We can see that the population has gradually reduced. The reason why the population of black bugs is reduced is due to construction of buildings in open areas. Open areas are necessary for the breeding of black black bugs. Due to the construction of buildings in all open areas, the black bugs population is reduced. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. My name is B. Praveen Kumar. My roll number is NA10B055. I am here to say about the major problems in my hometown, Sulurpeta. You can see in the map. The major problem were caused by the factories. They are the primary source of loss in agriculture land, health problems, air pollution, water pollution. Loss in agriculture land due to soil pollutions. Soil pollution may alter the plant metabolism and reduce the crop yields. And the health problems can occur by air pollution and water pollution. The health problems affecting to the people through air pollution are asthma attacks, cancer, irritation of eyes, nose, mouth, etc. And the health problems caused by water pollution are typhoid, rashes, and respiratory infections. And there is no doubt that excessive levels of pollution are causing a lot of damage to human and animal, plants, and including tropical rainforest. And there is one more problem: the air pollution causes acid rains. The acid rains kills the trees, destroy the leaves and plants. Thanks.
Hi friends, good morning to all. My name is Ranjit Vadlamuri and my roll number is BT10B070. I came from a small town, Paikropeta. You can see it in the map. The major problem faced by the people in Paikropeta is air pollution and water pollution. There is a 52% of this population pollution is due to the industries. There is a sugar industry nearby my town. The air quality index given by the Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board is red color, which indicates unhealthy. You can see it through the tables. These air quality index values are tabulated through the following formulae. Let us consider the air quality index as 171 at my place. Then we end up through these calculations as the average fine particle concentration as 100.15 micrograms per meter cube. Actually, at a good level of health concern, it should be 12 micrograms per meter cube. The health issues are asthma, severe respiratory tracts, etc. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. I am here to present the civic problem in my hometown Nellore. Nellore is situated in southeast of Andhra Pradesh and located in banks of River Penna. Nellore is well known for agriculture products and famous temples. So, Nellore is one of the fastest developing city in AP, but the illiteracy rate is very high. So, as from this table, almost all similar when the average literacy of the Nellore city and metropolitan city when it is changed from city to metropolitan city. So there are so many problems in Nellore. One of the major problem in Nellore is road problems. You can see in the slides two roads are there. One is near my hometown Vedapalam road and Bombay road in Nellore. So actually the roads are very worse. During rain times it has becomes very worse. People feeling very bad when traveling from one place to another place. So these are some problems in my hometown Nellore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I wish one and all present here a very fine good morning. My name is Gokul. My roll number is CH10B017. From my childhood, I used to feel very happy feeling that my city is one of the best city in India. But when I see these slums, I used to feel that why can't these be eradicated? Yes, slums are one of the major civic problem in my city. Slums are habitation on misused lands of government, private and municipal councils, and they are characterized by serious lack of basic amenities. The slum population, the total city population is around 60 million, and the slum population in Chennai is around 20 million, which is almost 30% of the total population. The basic problems of slums are child abuse, malnutrition, and it even sometimes it is the origin for crime. Now these are the result of slums. Slums are they can even be called as poverty, and these are the results: poor living conditions, no education, very poor hygiene, and poor health care. So I hope this will be eradicated. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. I am Rohan Bendre, BT10B036. As you can see from the map, I hail from the busy city of Mumbai. Mumbai is a city that never sleeps. The map on the right shows the road network of the city. Living in Mumbai is a lot of fun as long as those roads don't start filling up with vehicles. Yes, today I am going to talk about the traffic in Mumbai. Traffic. Mumbai in recent years has become synonymous to traffic. Daily office goers don't get irritated by nothing else as much as traffic. Traffic also has another drastic impact on the life of Mumbai, which is road rage. People lose their cool and get involved in fights, causing harm to person as well as property. A traffic signal is like an orchestra of honking car horns, leading to a lot of noise pollution. These figures show the total number of vehicles on Mumbai roads, comparing them in 2008 and 2011, an unsustainable increase of 10 lakhs in 3 years. Overpopulation of humans can be controlled now using certain productive measures, but what about overpopulation on roads? It is time we all start thinking.
Hi friends, good morning to all. My name is Manoj. My roll number is BT10B057. I am going to talk about the road accidents occur in my place, where on the road of Burra Caves, it is you can see on the map there. You can see in the map there where the Burra Caves are located. Many road accidents are occur there due to the overdriving, and the Burra Caves is the place. It is the tourism area, and it is called as Andhra Ooty. And you can see the road; it is not sufficient to cross both the vehicles at a time. And every year, tourism is increasing, and the accidents also increasing day by day. Many people are overriding over there, and due to their irresponsible driving, they are losing their lives. You can see the road there, how the road is there due to many curves, and the valley roads are very dangerous. And you can see the graph there, how the accidents are increasing by year from the 2006 to 2012. And thank you to all.
Good morning to all. This is Arjun Agarwal. My roll number is CE08B067. I am from Kanpur. Kanpur is known as Manchester. Kanpur is one of the highest populous city in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and it is known as the Manchester of the East, and leather city of the world, because sir, I'm going blank, sir. Excuse me, sir. I'm going blank.
Look at your slides. That's why slides are there. Why do you need slides? Yeah, and talk.
Sorry for the interruption. Kanpur has faced many problems, those including public utility, drastic shortage of electricity, unemployment, and last but not least, illiterate politicians. I'm focusing on the problems relating to water and air pollution. Water pollution, as we all know, Kanpur is drenched within the hands of river Ganges, and hereby you can see a picture depicting the same. There are so many nalas which go about in river Kanpur and drench it. And the air pollution, the vehicular emissions are one of the major causes for the air pollution. Unlike industrial emissions, vehicular pollutants are released at ground level, and hence the impact on recipient population will be more. Thank you.